Hey everybody, welcome to the Breaking Bad Insider Podcast. My name is Kelly Dixon. We're here with Vince Gilligan.
Hola, amigos.
Executive producer Michelle McLaren, and also the director of this episode.
Hello.
I've got Bob Odenkirk, who plays Saul.
Hey.
I've got Stephen Bauer, who plays Don Eladio.
Salud.
And last but certainly not least, the co-writer of this episode, Jenny Hutchison.
Hello.
So, everybody, thank you for coming in on a Sunday to talk about this. This is such an exciting episode, so let's, just start right in. Hey, guess what, Aaron?
Oh, wow.
Hey, how you doing,
How you
man?
guys doing? I'm so, are we?
Yeah, you're going.
Hi.
So,
Hi. Rolling.
Hi.
but Aaron, I want to, just start in, I guess, on the episode, because this episode opens on this wide panoramic shot, Michelle, that you went out there and probably not too far away from Q Studios to shoot, and with our three guys, Jesse and Giancarlo, Gus, and Mike. And then you've got this great shot with this plane coming in. When I first got that footage, I had no idea that it wasn't flying, because it's got like this kind of
So it's
That was
on
done-
the ground.
thing.
It's on the
We're,
ground,
the,
right?
the airplane's on the ground, and Steve, the pilot, he sat in the pilot seat and he moved the ailerons. And so
Oh,
when you look
okay.
out the window, you see things moving. And then the camera floated. The camera operators floated to make it look like the plane was moving.
Jonathan Banks was so happy that he did not have to go into the air.
It was really windy, and obviously we would
Yeah.
never go up there if it wasn't
Yeah.
safe. But we had a lot of fun on the ground when we were shooting it out in the field and everything with the landing of the plane. And Steve landed that plane actually quite a bit, and you guys
Yeah.
got on and we started moving. We taxied with the actors. We just never took off with the actors actually on the ground. It was great.
I know that when I was working on the editor's cut, actually the director's cut, and Michelle, you shot this, and I remember you telling me that originally Brian was not supposed to play this scene with Junior in opening the garage in his underwear, and he wanted to.
That's true, actually.
Is that true?
Brian was the one who pitched the idea of being in his underwear, and
It's hard to keep them in
I
pants.
know.
He always loves to be naked.
All you have to
Always
say to
gotta go
Brian
to the
is,
underwear
would you mind
default.
taking off your and his pants are gone.
It's gone. They just disappear.
So, Bob,
I want to see this show.
you know what I will say though, as I've said this all year, I absolutely love your wardrobe. So kudos to whoever does Bob's.
We
Me
appreciate
too.
you
I just
letting,
show up
wearing
and,
your own clothes. Yeah.
I
would
love
be
the
so
colors
much
that
work.
he wears.
Yeah.
Oh my God, poor Saul has to spend an hour and a half every morning putting together those insane party-colored outfits.
I love the wardrobe.
That's one of my favorite lines. In that scene, though, when you go, Mr. Beneke, I've got some bad news, and then it's, oh, maybe it's not bad news. And
Yeah.
the way you do that is
yeah.
so great.
I love
The
how
way
that
you
scene
deliver it.
opens.
So
The
much
scene opens
fun.
with you, your head on the desk saying, "This is a bad idea." It's so good, man. I love. That's one of my favorite segues of the season.
That's great.
badass.
That was really fun when I get to play a game on somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really fun, like doing that scene with Beneke, right? And then I'm like talking about and pretending like, oh, so you didn't know? Oh, all right, well, it's all bullshit.
Yeah,
All
totally.
made up.
Totally. You know what, Jenny? I wanted to talk to you too about this awesome scene that you wrote about with Brian and Junior. Well, Walton Junior about Walt's dad. So how did you guys break that? Because this is like a very rare glimpse that we get into Walt's past. We don't really get much, and that was a lot, I thought.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've talked about Walt's past a lot on the show and when and if we want to reveal anything, and it's always been sort of a challenge because we never, Vince especially, we never want to reveal something as being an explanation for Walt's behavior, because I think too often people say, oh, well, this happened to him when he was a child, so this is directly the cause of why he's like this, and I think that human nature is way more complicated than that. But we also do want to reveal stuff about Walt, and I'm not sure exactly how this particular story came up, but it did come up in the room, and we were like, why don't we talk about his dad? We've heard about his mom, but we don't know anything about his dad, and so we made the decision that his dad should have passed away, and then it was sort of a how, and we didn't want it to be cancer because that was too direct, but we wanted some sort of, kind of horrible disease that had, we wanted it to be a protracted kind of thing for him as well, rather than a sudden death.
Yeah.
So.
I think Tom Schnauz suggested Huntington's. because
Yeah.
someone close to him he had known of it. Yeah, that sounds absolutely awful. Yeah.
I guess we should, get to the elephant in the room here. The big, gigantic scene, which is,
The reappearance of Don Eladio.
basically the big, huge hacienda scene and Gus's revenge. That's what I meant by
Yeah.
Gus's revenge. You went back to the hacienda,
We did.
and you've got a lot more people now. You've got a whole big party, and how did you guys start, Jenny and Vince, about how you were gonna basically have Gus's revenge? And did you start that at the beginning of the season, or did it just evolve?
It all started with a vision of many, many girls in bikinis, and then we kind of fleshed
I
it
bet
out.
that's
mine.
what Jenny.
That was
Yeah.
That was Jenny's idea. I fought against
We
it.
delivered.
Yeah, yeah, you did. Well, I have to stand in for Peter here too because Peter wrote that entire sequence. I think that was a pretty early idea, the Gus with the tequila, and I think it started with the image of Gus laying down the towel in the bath, like taking off his suit jacket, folding it, laying down the towel in front of the toilet, and then inducing himself to vomit. And that's where I think it started. I think you, Vince, specifically had that image in your mind as like very Gus and very interesting, and then it was like kind of building from there.
It was not the throwing up so much as the hand.
It was the towel.
The
It was the
hand
towel.
He would bother to put a hand towel
Yeah.
down to
Yeah.
kneel on.
Well,
before
Don
he-
Eladio has dirty floors in that house. No. I mean,
It's a great
like the
visual.
Playboy Mansion in there. It'd be nasty.
So Michelle, when they went out, you guys went out there to the hacienda. You brought Stephen Bauer back, for this reprise of Don Eladio.
20 years later.
20 years later.
Yeah.
Exactly, which was a huge thing, actually, that we knew that we were going to. We knew when we were doing episode 8 that we were making these gentlemen 20 years younger, and then they were going to be 20 years older. And what we did with Steven is we went 10 and 10, basically.
Yes, exactly.
So we made him 10 years younger for 08 and 10 years older for
Right.
410.
Oh, you still damn good
Steven,
looking
what did
man
you?
in both-
What did you?
both episodes.
I want to ask Steven, what did you think when you read 410?
It plays like this circus. I just felt like a circus trainer or like a ringleader in this circus, and again the fact that it's all in Spanish, and also Mike's there, and Mike is like this presence, man, that just and also have like this history with Mike with Jonathan Banks because he was in Wise Guy with me. So I hadn't seen him yet. I had not seen him yet, and then he's there, and I've been watching the episode, so I know also what he represents.
Yeah.
And he's such a badass. So when he's looking at me, I'm always like uneasy, So I have to like fucking Don Eladio.
Really?
Yeah, man.
I didn't
have
know
to
that.
pull Don Eladio up from inside me because Mike makes me feel weird. He
that.
does. He
You
creeps
certainly
me
can't
out.
tell.
He
You
creeps me
can't-
out because I know that he's dangerous.
Wow.
Because I saw him punch Walt in the face. And
I did. You can't tell any of that watching it. Awesome.
no,
Yeah,
no,
great
I know.
job.
I really have to like psych myself up,
Wow.
and go like, fuck him.
Well, I love
know.
this scene where you've got Jesse, who basically has heard that he's going to have to stay in Mexico, and he's like, this is messed up, and he's kind of helpless at that point. And Mike basically tells him, look, if everything goes as planned, we're all walking out of here. And then Giancarlo is
We're all
taking.
walking out, or none of us is walking
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Giancarlo is taking, or Gus is taking these pills. What are they, and where did that
That's
come
a good
from?
question.
And-
The pills, as we believe it to be, Jenny, with the, we writers, the point of that little moment, the pills, you're meant to kind of miss them when it first happens, and then kind of notice them, pay attention to them later. But I think what they are, based on our research, is activated charcoal tablets or capsules of activated charcoal, which is a good thing to have in your medicine cabinet at home. Period. Apparently, it can help. It can soak up poison, or pretty much anything that's in your stomach. But it can soak up poison and help delay the reactions or the actions of poisons. And I think it also can help even if you got food poisoning. It's a good thing to have in your home medicine cabinet. But I think the idea is prophylactically, he is taking charcoal tablets. Because he knows he's going to be drinking poison, and he knows he needs something to soak up the poison, and then he also goes and throws up, and that's what allows him to live whilst Everyone else dies. Although he's still, he looks in pretty bad shape by the end of
I
this
don't
one.
know. I just wanted to bring up too. You guys had an interesting story to tell me about the actual tequila bottle and the fact
yeah.
that you made that
Oh,
up,
yeah.
and that's a fictional tequila.
We made an insanely dangerous tequila bottle because the top. Did you cut your hand on
Yes,
it?
I
though?
cut my hand like 3 times. Every time I reach for it.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I wasn't gonna reach for it like this.
Yeah.
It's like, I've done a lot. You had to go "Rah, rah," like that. I go.
That was an extraordinarily bad idea on my part. I take the blame for that. We no real tequila company would let us use their product.
Shockingly.
Shockingly.
Oh, it's poison.
We tried for product placement. It didn't
We
work.
tried.
So you invented one.
Should have gone to a poison company.
Yes.
You know what? You're
Yes.
right.
Poison.
Acme Poison. But we invented that. Our great props department handcrafted the box. And then we bought I think it's Jenny Lind, was that the name of the bottle? It's an antique bottle
Wow, it's so
that
beautiful.
we
too.
bought. Very pretty bottle.
Is it sitting at your house now? Or
I
is
don't
in-
know
or
where it
it
is.
in
I think
the
a prop
archive?
master.
Probably
Archive.
sitting
We're
in
saving it for the Smithsonian.
Yeah,
That's
for
what
the
we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we had to be very careful not to break the one vintage bottle that we
yes.
had, which is a major no-no in filmmaking. That you only have one of a glass item.
yeah.
But it was such a cool bottle, and we couldn't replicate it.
I guess we have to wrap this up. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Michelle, Bob, Vince, Stephen, Jenny, and Aaron. Thank you so much, and thanks to our support crew also, Melissa, Trevor, Jen, and Gordon. Thank
Thanks,
you so
Kelly.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody, enjoy the show.
Bravo.
See you next week. Let's go break bad.